Here we're going to take a look at factoring trinomials. Now we're going to start by looking at trinomials where the leading coefficient is 1, which means I'm just going to have my variable squared. There's not going to be a number in front of it. So looking at this x squared plus bx plus c, the whole goal in factoring is to do the opposite of multiplying. Instead of multiplying two binomials together to get a trinomial, I want to take a trinomial and figure out what was multiplied together to produce it. So what I'm actually looking for is two values. I'm going to call them here P and Q, where P and Q are going to add up to give me my middle term B, and then P and Q have to multiply to give me this last term C. Now where this comes from is just the simple fact if I multiply this out I can see it. If I take x plus P times x plus Q and multiply that out using FOIL, x times x would give me an x squared, and then I'd get plus x times Q, which is QX. Multiplying my inside terms together I would get plus px, and then finally I can see that my p times q gives me plus pq. Now because I can combine my middle terms, I'm going to write that as x squared plus the quantity q plus p times x plus p times q. Now if I compare this to the general form of my trinomial, x squared plus bx plus c, I can see that b times x, this b has to be q plus p, or p plus q equals b, and the c, my last term, has to be this p times q, these two values multiplied together. So when I'm looking at a trinomial, I always want to remember that this middle term, this b, is going to be a sum of two values, and the last term c is going to be a product. So I'm looking for numbers that multiply to the last term and add to give me my middle term. So let's take a look at this example, x squared plus 13x plus 30. Now in order to get an x squared, I know the only thing that's going to multiply to be x squared is just an x times an x. But now looking at my 30, I know that 30, some things that could multiply to 30 would be 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, or 5 and 6. Now, I could go through and write down all of the combinations and then FOIL them out to see which would actually give me this trinomial x squared plus 13x plus 30, but kind of a shortcut is to just go through here and check these products. So look at these products that I have and see between these factors which of them are going to add to give me my middle term, my 13x. So if I look at the 1 and 30, 1 and 30 gives me 31. That's not what I want. 2 plus 15 gives me 17, which once again is not what I'm looking for. However, if I take my 3 plus 10, that's going to give me my 13x. So I can write this factorization as x plus 3 times x plus 10. Now if I would have written this as x plus 10 times the quantity x plus 3, that would be correct also. The order in which I write the two binomials does not matter. Now an easy way to check to make sure I have the correct factorization is to FOIL this out. So if I check this by multiplying, I would take my x times x, which is x squared, multiply my 10 times x to give me 10x, and then the 3 times x is 3x, and finally 3 times 10 gives me plus 30. Going through and combining my like terms, I can see that I do get back to my original trinomial, which was x squared plus 13x plus 30. So I can see that I do have the correct factorization, which would be x plus 3 times the quantity x plus 10.